has become the Skid Row for RV homelessness in LA County.
Problems keep mounting for this roving encampment. KCAL's Jasmine Veal spoke to the RV company owner, who's now apologizing and trying to set the record straight.
For years, experts warned that the math was breaking. Rents rose faster than wages, budgets thinned, and the margin for error vanished. Those warnings were easy to ignore when the damage seemed contained. But the system didn't collapse overnight. It failed gradually and predictably. Nearly half of U.S. renters now live one missed paycheck away from eviction. Not a job loss, not a medical emergency. One delay is enough. Rents climbed at a pace wages never matched, pushing thousands of households each week out of traditional housing and into vehicles, motels, or temporary arrangements never meant to last.
Last several weeks, we have been investigating how and why this could be allowed to happen. And now Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell shows you what's being done to get people services and start moving some of these RVs out.
More than 40% of renters are now cost-burdened, spending over 30% of their income on rent. 1 in 4 spends more than half, leaving little for food, transportation, healthcare, or emergencies. Since 2010, wages rose less than 17%, while rents in major cities jumped 40% to over 100%. Miami rents doubled. Phoenix and Las Vegas surged. Even historically affordable Midwest cities saw sharp increases. In 2010, median rent was under $1,000. By 2026, typical rents sit between $1,800 and $2,200, with many markets far higher. Outside wartime inflation, this is the steepest sustained rent increase in U.S. history. The idea that more construction would fix everything hasn't held up. Most new housing has been luxury units, priced beyond the reach of average workers. Only about 7% of new rentals qualify as affordable, and long waitlists keep many families locked out. Supply grew, but not where people actually live. At the same time, investor ownership, remote work migration, and population growth intensified competition. The result is a renter's trap. Even if rents stopped rising, wages would take years to catch up.
Well, the Low Income Housing Institute is the group tasked with pulling this off.
The claim that people can't afford rent because they don't work hard enough collapses under basic math. Full-time workers earning $18 to $22 an hour take home $2,500 to $3,000 a month after taxes, while rent alone often costs $1,800 to $2,800 before food, before gas, before childcare or healthcare. The margin isn't thin, it's gone. When every essential rises at once, there's nothing left to cut. Meals are skipped, medications rationed, bills delayed, debt grows, and eventually, people fall behind. What this has produced is something the U.S. hasn't seen at scale before. Working, middle-income families priced entirely out of housing. In 2025 alone, nearly 3.6 million households received eviction notices. Affordable housing waitlists stretch for years. Shelters are full. Housing vouchers reach fewer than 1 in 4 eligible families. The safety net people assume exists is mostly theoretical. So when the lease ends or the eviction notice arrives, people improvise. They move into RVs. They sleep in vans. They rotate through weekly motels.
And the current situation is unsustainable. It's not a good situation for families to be raising their children.
They store belongings in storage units and couch surf when they can. This shift is happening everywhere, including rural states, where homelessness is now growing faster than in major cities. The face of homelessness has changed, and that may be the most unsettling part. Nurses, teachers, truck drivers, retail workers, delivery drivers, veterans, seniors, single parents, people with jobs and schedules and routines. Over 600,000 seniors now live in RVs, vans, or cars, because Social Security averages around $1,700 a month, nowhere near enough to cover market rent. More than 1.2 million children are estimated to be living in vehicles, campgrounds, or motels, according to school district data. In some regions, school bus routes now include RV parks and informal camping areas. Childhood redefined by parking lots and pullouts. What once looked like a lifestyle choice has become a survival strategy. The number of Americans living full-time in RVs has tripled since 2016, now exceeding 2 million. With another 1 to 1.5 million living in vans or cars.
Los Angeles, a place to park is fast becoming a place to start over for thousands of people there living in RVs.
On paper, RV living appears cheaper. In reality, it's punishing. RV prices surged with demand. Fuel costs remain high. Park fees have doubled or tripled. Maintenance failures can wipe out savings instantly. Many RV dwellers spend $2,200 to $2,800 a month, nearly the same as rent, but with none of the stability. And when something breaks, there is no landlord to call. Cities have largely responded to this transformation, not with solutions, but with enforcement. Since 2021, more than 230 cities have passed ordinances banning overnight vehicle parking, imposing strict time limits, towing RVs, or confiscating vehicles used as shelter. These policies don't reduce homelessness. They just push people farther out. often destroying the only home they have. Impound fees alone can exceed $3,000, an impossible sum for people already on the edge. Lose the vehicle, lose the shelter, lose the job. The spiral tightens fast.
Local leaders say they're making a new push to address what they're calling van lording.
Yeah, they say people are illegally renting substandard RVs to the unhoused, letting them live in poor conditions.
As urban enforcement increases, public land has become America's last informal housing system. Campgrounds, Bureau of Land Management land, and national forests now host long-term RV residents, well beyond recreational capacity. RV parks report near total occupancy, with waiting lists lasting months. Monthly rates have risen so high that some parks now cost as much as apartments. New RV parks are being built, but nowhere near fast enough to meet demand. Across the western United States, public land is absorbing housing pressure from nearby cities. Quartzsite, Yuma, Kingman, Las Vegas, Reno, Boise, Bend, Flagstaff, Moab, Sedona, dozens of smaller towns. Different landscapes, same pattern. Legal access paired with instability. Constant movement, climate extremes, enforcement anxiety. Heat, cold, wildfire closures, and water access determine who survives. Summer temperatures over 110 degrees turn cooling into a life or death calculation. Winters freeze plumbing and batteries. Fire seasons can shut down legal camping overnight, forcing sudden displacement. Even where camping is allowed, people live with the constant expectation of being told to move. There is no permanence, only temporary permission.
Unbearable weight of the cost of living on their shoulders, some people have turned to living in RVs as a way to get by. The problem is finding a place to park long term.
The mental toll is severe. Vehicle dwellers report anxiety and stress at rates 2 to 3 times higher than housed individuals. Sleep disruption, fear of enforcement, isolation. Parents describe staying awake at night to protect their children. Seniors describe shame replacing the security they thought they had earned. Children grow up without anchors, changing locations repeatedly during the school year, learning early that stability is fragile. This is not a temporary spike. Analysts estimate that if current trends continue, 2 to 4 million more Americans could enter vehicle living by 2030. RV manufacturers now openly market units as affordable housing. Storage yards quietly become communities. Public land is being repurposed by necessity, not design, and it is already overwhelmed.
It's just been pretty rough. And living in an RV, as anyone imagines, it's a vacation.
This is what happens when a country fails to build enough affordable housing for decades. Zoning laws block multifamily construction and mobile home parks. Investors treat housing as an asset class. Assistance reaches only a fraction of those who qualify. The market serves the top income tier and leaves everyone else to improvise. Nowhere is this collision more visible than in San Francisco, a city of immense wealth grappling with a housing reality that no longer matches its image. The city is moving to ban homeless people from living in RVs by adopting strict new parking limits that the mayor says are necessary to keep sidewalks clear and prevent trash buildup. The policy targets at least 400 recreational vehicles in a city of 800,000. Those vehicles are home to people who can't afford housing, including immigrant families with children. Residents say RVs aren't a lifestyle choice, but a necessity in a city where affordable apartments are out of reach. City leaders, including Mayor Daniel Lurie, argue that RVs aren't suitable for long-term living and say the city must balance offering shelter with restoring order.
But long-term RV encampments on our streets will no longer be tolerated.
Supporters frame the policy as compassion with structure. Critics see it as coercion disguised as help. Under the proposal, RVs and oversized vehicles would face a 2-hour parking limit citywide, even if the vehicle is someone's home. A temporary permit program would exempt residents registered by May, but only if they work with outreach staff, accept housing when offered, and surrender their RV once housed. Permits last 6 months. Anyone arriving after May gets no exemption. The city has set aside just over $500,000 to buy RVs at $175 per foot. Critics say the numbers don't add up. The city is offering additional housing help to about 65 households, while hundreds live in RVs. Many fear people will lose their vehicles without ever receiving housing, or that shelter placements will come at the expense of those with greater needs. The choice isn't real. Give up your home for a chance at housing that may never come. San Francisco isn't alone. Cities nationwide are adopting similar enforcement-first strategies.
What this means for San Francisco is we're going to have cleaner, safer streets. We're going to have more people living inside. And if you want to stay in your RV, you can do so outside of San Francisco.
Threatening arrest, fines, or towing for those who refuse shelter. Safe parking programs shrink or close because of cost, even as enforcement expands. One San Francisco RV lot closed after costing $4 million a year, with officials citing poor housing outcomes. Residents say it at least kept them from losing everything. For people like Zach, who has lived in his RV for more than a decade, the decision is practical. He works, maintains his space, and avoids shelters due to safety and rule restrictions. If housing were affordable, he says, he wouldn't be there at all.
We want people to move out of these RVs into housing, but we still have thousands and thousands of people on the streets.
For many, this wasn't a preference. It was the last option. At the same time, nearly 2/3 of working-age renters struggle to cover basic expenses after rent, according to Harvard researchers. This includes many middle-income full-time workers, with rent and essentials together exceeding the median salary. Single-income households, especially those with children or health issues, are most vulnerable. Rural areas are being hit hard too, where lower rents are offset by lower wages. When renters earning under $30,000 are left with about $300 a month after rent, there's no room for error. People skip meals, delay care, and fall behind. Those pressures ripple outward, hurting local businesses, straining labor markets, and hollowing out communities. This isn't a lifestyle trend, it's a warning. Millions of Americans are working and still can't afford stable housing. Work no longer guarantees housing, and whether that reality becomes permanent will shape the country's future.